is back. Sam and oh God, what's up with you? Hip hop uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Hip hop uncensored is the vibe, so subscribe. Oh God, driving Sam and riding passenger side, and you heard it out the mouth of the greatest rapper alive.
Interested in promoting your brand, business, or talent on Hip Hop News Uncensored? Hit me up right now at advertise@hiphopun.com. That's advertise@hiphopun.com. Hit me ASAP. Very affordable rates. Now to our regularly scheduled program list.
Fine, I got you. Just sit here and just watch these videos, right? And so that's kind of the purpose of my channel, to help guide the younger generation and give them the information that they need. But because I don't want to call it a selfless act, because YouTube does pay me and people support me. But if you really add up my time, right, and then you calculate it out, I'm losing money every day on this damn thing. Yeah. But it's okay, because I'm not 7 years in trying to grind. I've done that already. So I'm kind of, I'm winding it down now. So because of my certain stage, and because I don't have kids in college or anything like that, I have the luxury of being able to give away things that most people cannot give away.
Understood. Appreciate it. Yeah, I want to talk about, because you talked about a lot of people, they had some real good subject matter on your channel I've been watching over the last couple of weeks. One in particular was Charlamagne Tha God. You talked about him extensively. Kind of going to that for our audience, man. What's been your expertise on the case, his case? I'm not going to say the word, obviously, we know why we can't say it, but his case has been ongoing, and the battles he's been going back and forth on YouTube from an attorney's, expertise. Talk about that, will you?
Yes. I mean, I'm not sure how much your audience knows about this Charlamagne situation, because I didn't know anything about it. Okay. I knew nothing about it until Kwame Brown hit. And when Kwame Brown hit and started talking about Charlamagne Tha God, and he said some things that were, a little bit too strong, and Charlamagne Tha God, he ran to his attorneys and sent Kwame Brown a cease and desist letter. And Kwame Brown got the damn letter and said, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. And so he retracted what he said, but then he hit him even twice as hard, because he showed the damn indictment when he was indicted down in South Carolina for, just the terrible act. And so it was an interesting process for me to figure out kind of what was going on. And a lot of people knew about this, but a lot of people didn't. I saw people commenting on my channel. I was like, man, I'm learning this from you. And that's how, because I was getting criticism like, oh, why are you talking about this? This is 2 years old. I didn't know about it. Right. And so Kwame really shined the light on it. And, there's so many, I've done so many videos on it. There's so many aspects that we could talk about this case. And one of the big ones was, Charlamagne was not prosecuted fully because Jessica Reed is one of the victims. Jessica Reed's mother did not allow her to testify. And she did not allow her to testify because she was 15 years old. So the state, the state of South Carolina, they convened the grand jury and they issued the indictment, and they were coming after him. So many people are like, oh, well, Charlamagne Tha God, he was allowed to plead out because the state didn't really want him. No, the state was coming after him. They really were. But the state decided to listen to the mom. The state decided to grant the mom's request that the daughter not testify. So they dropped it down to a misdemeanor.
I just want to ask you one question right there. In certain cases, I know, like in New Jersey, we're from New Jersey. If the state has such a good case, even without star witnesses, the star witness, which would be the lady Jessica Reed, wouldn't they still, in your opinion, go after him if they had, a strong enough case without the star witness, or it doesn't happen like that?
It absolutely can. You're absolutely right. It depends on the DA. So usually what you have is some type of district attorney, some type of main prosecutor, and then you have all these underlings who actually do the work. You don't really see the main prosecutor in court because they're like the head, but they make the tough calls. And, I'm not sure who the prosecutor was, the main DA, the main district attorney, but it could be the prosecutor, the assistant working on the case was talking with the victim's advocate, talking with the mom, talking with Jessica. We don't really know what Jessica's mental state was at the time. You know, you heard the mom and Jessica, you heard her say that, you know, you even heard Charlamagne. Charlamagne said that Jessica was in the room flipping out. You know, she was in the room screaming. She was in the room kicking over TVs. Right. Yeah. And now she's home, you know, and the mom, you know, at the hospital, the mom was like, you know, her brain, she's gone through all this trauma. And it could absolutely be where the mom says, listen, if you force my child to take the stand, and they could have done that. They could have subpoenaed Jessica at 15. They could have forced her to. Okay. If you force my child to take the stand, then she might lose it. She might lose it all. And it could be the prosecutor was like, you know, it could be the prosecutor was a woman. It could be the prosecutor was a mother or a dad who had a daughter at the same age and just didn't want to risk it. So they decided not to call her. Now, here's the thing about prosecutors. Do they want to do justice? Yeah, fine. Okay. Mm-hmm. They are worried about their numbers. Okay. They are worried about their conviction rate. Prosecutors want a high conviction rate. That's in every, no matter what they say, that's in every prosecutor's office in the country. They want a high conviction rate. No prosecutor wants a low conviction rate. So it's like what you're saying is, well, you know, if she didn't testify, could they have used circumstantial evidence? Yes, but their case would be so shaky. You know, they would risk losing. Prosecutors do not like to lose. If the choice is having this case with no star witness on a felony charge and maybe losing, or having a misdemeanor charge, but having him plead guilty so we get our conviction and our rate goes up, they're going to take the bird in the hand, right? They're going to take the bird in the hand. And so that's what they decided to do. And because they're so focused on their conviction rate, you know, I don't know if you should blame them or not, because I mean, I feel like prosecuting officers should not be worried about the damn conviction rate. They should be worried about justice.
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't want to be in a situation where you're arrested and now instead of looking, here's what defense attorneys and prosecutors are supposed to do. Defense attorneys are kind of supposed to win at all costs. They're not playing the same game. Defense attorneys are supposed to find basically any legal way to win. That's not what prosecutors are supposed to do. Prosecutors are supposed to just put a case up and let the jury decide, let the judge decide. Prosecutors are not trying to win. There's no win for prosecutors. They're just letting they're letting the jury decide. If the jury says yes, fine. If the jury says no, fine. Prosecutors shouldn't care. That's what people don't see. It's not like defense attorneys against prosecutors. No, this defense attorneys trying to find a way to show that the state didn't follow their obligation. And then prosecutors are just supposed to go for fairness. It's not what they do. Prosecutors try to win every single day. They are trying to win. And so this kind of goes along with it. You say, well, why didn't they just do the case on circumstantial evidence? Mm-hmm. Because they might not win. You know, they would rather plead it down, have him sign, say he was guilty, and then say, see, he signed, say he was guilty. This is a conviction. Our rate goes up.
Right. Another thing I wanted to ask you, I know you've been studying the case, the fact that he went down and I think he got arrested, obviously, for the crime, and then he gave up like his blood and everything. When they took up the R kit from Jessica Reed, wouldn't they be able to, I'm just actually, I don't know, match up, you know, the samples, if there were any samples with them too? Did it go that far? Or did it stop at that point where she said she didn't want to testify? Then none of that stuff comes in at that point?
That's correct. If she does not want to testify, okay. And again, there's this whole thing about this DNA kit because so much of the DNA wasn't tested and it was inconclusive, right? Okay. But you can throw it away. If the victim says that she doesn't want to testify, and if the state is going to allow that, and the state's going to be like, no, we're not going to subpoena you and make you testify. If you say you don't want to testify, if the state's like, fine, you don't have to testify, they can burn all the evidence. They can throw it away. It doesn't matter. The state is not going to look at, the only reason the state looks at evidence is because they're trying to either decide to prosecute the case or they are in the actual prosecution of the case. But if they've already decided not to prosecute, then the evidence, no one really cares about the evidence. All right.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. So I was just saying that that's a great question, but yeah, the evidence really is just now in the public opinion, and people are all confused about the DNA. But the state, once they decided that they were going to drop the charge down to contributing to the delinquency of a minor and allowed him to plead out, they don't really care about the DNA.
Great point. Thank you for breaking that down. Well, I'll end it on this because I know you're pressed for time. We're almost within our hour. With the lead attorney on the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast, definitely appreciate you. It's a lot of unanswered questions and slippery slopes when it comes to this whole ordeal. And years ago, our platform and our audience are well aware because we've covered this for some years now while it was going on. And you see a lot of black men put against black women and a lot of he say, she say. And then it ultimately comes down to who do I like more as opposed to justice. So on our platform, we like to pride ourselves on not giving people what they want, but giving people the neutral side of every situation. So when we hear so much hate on Charlamagne, we gave the but what ifs, but what ifs, but what ifs. And a lot of people got mad at us for that, but we didn't care. We stood on our morals and go what ifs, even though a lot of people and a lot of their criticism towards Charlamagne Tha God is justified because you can't go back on a lot of the nonsense that man spewed out of his mouth. Yeah. But we ultimately want to gather truth. And unfortunately on YouTube and other platforms, if they don't like you, you're automatically guilty. And then that leads down a very dark road. So we appreciate honest perspective from somebody that doesn't have any chip in the game or anything, any other ulterior motive, anything, just wants to give the honest truth to hear their perspective, because it's very difficult to get, especially on these platforms.
Oh, thank you. And I totally agree. And, you know, attorneys, we're all, you know, we're the what if gang too, right? So attorneys are basically trying to seek the truth just like you guys are. And I would not have, to be honest with you, I would not have even made those Charlamagne Tha God videos if he had not gone on all these interviews and talked about, you know, what he said. And then about not only about Jessica Reed, but about other women too. If he had just stayed quiet about the whole thing, I would have never made it, because I'm feeling like I'm trying to convict you and stir up all this dirt when there's no evidence, you know, there's no nothing. But when you yourself go on all these different platforms over all this time and you start talking to me, you've opened up the door. You've invited this in. But I totally understand where you're coming from. And I think that's really every channel. It's hard to say every channel, but to me, that's the highest. That's the highest element, in my opinion, that any channel can have. You know, just focused on neutrality and focused on the truth, and not all this various mud slinging just to sling mud. And I try to mirror that. I try to mimic that on my channel as well. So if he had never said anything about, if he had never admitted to anything, there's no way I would have made one video. That's fair. And he deserves that criticism because it came out of his mouth, whether or not he was admitting to guilt or what he was doing while he was being irresponsible behind a microphone. He deserves that criticism. Real quick, do you think that he should address it, the situation, or you think it's better, you know, as an attorney, for him just to be quiet and hope it goes away at this point? He should shut up. He should shut up. And honestly, this is what we were just talking about before. If he had shut up at the beginning, we wouldn't even be talking about this. If he had shut up at the beginning, there would be 8 less videos on the lead attorney's channel. Right? So many people, you know, have stirred this up again because of the things that he has said. And so, you know, he really, just like you said, he brought this on to himself. You know, not even talking about what he did, right? But even giving him the benefit of the doubt, and let's just say he didn't do anything. The fact that he's admitting to stuff is allowing people to come in and say, listen to what you are admitting to. And it's one thing if you admit to this in the 60s, but it's 2020, 2018, 2021, right? So to me, he has to just hunker down, right? And just, you know, take it, because this is, people always talking about free speech and everybody has the right to free speech, and fair enough, but there are consequences that come along with your exercise of the free speech. And so he got to exercise his free speech on all these interviews. He's got to exercise his free speech on all these podcasts. Fine. Here come the consequences. Definitely. And it's, you know, we're at that hour mark. We definitely appreciate the lead attorney. Real quick, you know, give people your contact information, your YouTube channel, your social media handles real quick, brother. Appreciate you. Yes, thank you. I'm just a simple guy. You just find me at The Lead Attorney on YouTube. So you just Google just put on YouTube The Lead Attorney, and you will you'll find me. I don't really have Facebook, or I've got just Instagram with 4 posts. I don't even look at that. I need a social media manager. I need to be big like you guys. So yeah, if you just want to find me, just go to The Lead Attorney on YouTube. But again, let me thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. Sure. And you are some strong brothers doing your thing. And so hopefully one day I'll be where you guys are. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on.
Anytime, man. The platform is open. Anytime you want, hit us up. We would love to have you back on the platform. And if you're ever in the New Jersey area, we'd love to have you in studio.
Yes, sir. Perfect. Will do. Thank you so much for the invite.